Hello and welcome to another episode of Finance Friday. And on this episode, we want to talk about the differences between assets and liabilities. Assets and liabilities. Now, what's assets? A simple way to think about assets versus liabilities is assets are anything or is anything that brings in revenue, that brings in money, while liabilities are things that causes you to lose money. Assets are things that causes you to gain money. Liabilities are things that causes you to lose money. Now, those are one of the very first things you need to learn about when you are about to begin your journey to investments. Like I've often said, investing is not a walk in the park. It is a long-term journey and it requires long-term dedication and investment in learning and knowledge. Now, let's quickly take some examples of what assets are. There are different asset classes. There is the traditional asset class, and then there is the alternative, which are the traditional assets are basically things like stocks, bonds, commercial papers. All of these things they've been there for a very long time, and they are mostly regulated. There are proper regulations around them. So these things, you own a share of a company, especially if it is a dividend share, right? They pay you a certain amount, which is called a dividend, at a certain time of the year. Some pay once a year, some pay twice a year, some pay 4 times a year. It depends on the company and the terms for acquiring their shares, which could also be called stock. And then there is bonds, which are typically given to governments and some very high profile private businesses, right? So you lend them your money and then they use it to trade and then they pay back with a certain interest. These are secured forms of assets. They are commercial papers, which are almost in the same class with bonds. Yes, so you get paid interest while your money works for you. These things bring in revenue. Alternative asset classes will be cryptocurrencies, intellectual properties. Yes, because in a certain way they get to bring in revenue. You get to make money from them, from owning those things. If you, as long as you own copyright to any digital product, right, it means that you have rights to get returns on any of those things. Those are alternative asset classes. Liability, like we have said, is anything that takes away money from you. So one of it will be residential properties. I say residential, not real estate in general, because owning residential properties means that you have to pay, right, for maintenance, and that is taking money away from your pocket. Owning a car most times for your personal use means that you have to pay the mechanic when it breaks down. You have to buy fuel, you have to pay for maintenance, and all of those expenses that is associated with owning a car. It therefore makes owning a car for personal use a liability. I haven't said that any of these things are wrong. I have just used this as an opportunity to explain what an asset is and what liabilities are. I will see you in the next. Cheers.